I would like to welcome first our wonderful assistant team coming together from all over the world. For all the participants, take a look at people in front of their name with assist. And dear assistant team, could you give us a wave so we can see you all? Yes, here they are. We have an amazing assistant team with us tonight with lots of knowledge and wisdom and experience. And I'm very, very grateful for their support and for being here with us tonight. Thank you so much. And when we will work in small groups, each group will be joined by an assistant and they will introduce themselves a little bit more there. And we also want to make sure that you are taking really good care of yourself during the webinar as well. So whenever you feel activated, please reach out to them. They are here for you. And I would like to introduce our interpreter, Kata. She is going to do a heroic job tonight. Thank you so much for doing this alone. Thank you, Kata, for translating. Yes. And now I would like to welcome Ariel. Ariel Giarretto, she is a senior trainer in Somatic Experiencing, both for Europe and in the United States. Her specialty is in training professionals how to recover from extreme trauma. And Ariel is one of the current trainers in the very first SC training in Hungary, which we started last October. And I am deeply touched by how Ariel, without any hesitation, stepped up to support us as we are facing these extraordinary times. And thanks to her and to this wonderful team, assistant team coming together, there could be a chance that we come together and support each other during these challenging times. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Ariel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eszter. Sylvie, there's someone in the chat that's struggling with their screen. Did you see that? I'm going to just check the chat for a second.
Yep,
Hi.
I got it.
Got it, thanks. Yeah, well said, Eszter. These are extraordinary times. So we're here to give you some support, just some support for what I know many of you, in fact, many practitioners and professionals all over Europe are being literally flooded with need. And not only from refugees, I'm sure, but also people who are activated who have survived war. So we're really dealing with all of Europe right now, if not the whole world, responding to this crisis. So I'm hoping that you walk away from today feeling that you have a few small tools that you can work with, not only for your clients, but they're also designed to help all of us be able to what we call regulate and stabilize ourselves during challenging times. This program is based on the principles and practices of somatic experiencing, otherwise called SE. It's developed by Dr. Peter Levine, and we will be giving you a list of other websites and reading materials if you would like to read more about the SE model. We'll talk about that later. SE is unusual, and that is it's a biological model, and it's exactly what the name says. It is designed to help people recognize or experience how the body and the brain is reacting to stress and trauma. It is the direct experience. And it involves both experiences that we have in the past and how our body is reacting to the memory, but also to present circumstances. And of course, how we also think about, prepare, worry, about the future. SE is a model that is designed to heal and resolve traumatic or overwhelming events, but we're not doing that here. We don't have the time to work with situation-specific events. What we're doing here today is we're applying immediate first aid. And the focus of this program is on restoring what we call stabilization in the nervous system. And what that translates to is that our intention is to calm the symptoms down from the inside out. And the intention is to bring back the ability, really important, to think and act clearly, to make smart decisions, and to momentarily give the body a rest from the debilitating effects of stress. We want our clients to be able to gain a sense of confidence that you can handle your reactions even when one is powerless to manage what is happening on the outside. So I'm going to start the slides, which you will get a copy of. You'll get a copy of them in Hungarian. The assistants are also here to answer questions that you might have. We are also actively and very quickly working on creating some kind of social network, a Facebook page or something where you can all go and you'll be able to connect with each other, give support to each other, and also find out who in the global SE community is available to offer you additional support. That support might be private sessions if you need them just for your own healing. They might be in the form of supervision or consultation to ask specific situations that you might need. So all of this is forming, and you will be getting this information at the end. There's a lot of slides. I won't be getting through all of them. And the intention is, and the reason there are a lot of words in this presentation, is that you have like a manual that you can go back to and use as a resource for you. So I am representing what we call EASE, which is the European Association for Somatic Experiencing. This is the website. And on this website are lots of resources. There are lists of practitioners that have been trained in multiple countries, again, that you can utilize. You can use them for supervision. You can use them for private sessions. I don't know how many of them are donating. Most people do work for a fee. You'll have to work that out with each individual. We also have with us, we're grateful to have with us Elsbeth Horbaty, and she's going to be doing a presentation, an experiential presentation that she created. You can get more information about what she has to offer. She is also developing a longer training that will be many, many, many hours, because this is just an appetizer. And that's her information there. You can contact her. And then another organization that you should know about is called the Trauma Resource Institute. They have, again, training programs all over the world. Their materials are very established. There's a lot of research on this website that shows you how and why these practices work. And all of us have been informed by Elaine Miller-Karkaris and the program that she has developed. So that's another wonderful resource for you. What we're going to do today is I'm just going to be offering some very basic information about the reaction to stress and fear. I'm going to teach you some exercises Actually, Elsbeth is going to teach you some exercises that will help you and your clients' bodies begin to feel a little bit safer. And there's also going to be an emphasis on how to connect to resources that will help deal with difficult situations in a much more relaxed and easier way. So we're going to start a little bit with the science. And the science is an important psychoeducation. When clients are experiencing high stress, they often feel crazy. And part of our job is to normalize, to understand the symptoms of post-traumatic stress because they're very, very predictable. And these are some of the symptoms that we're most likely to see. Extreme anxiety and vigilance, right? That makes complete sense. The body, the system on high alert. Again, what is sometimes difficult to understand is how the body swings between moments of panic and then into depression. And from a nervous system perspective, we have panic as part of the sympathetic nervous system and depression as part of the parasympathetic. Difficulties falling asleep or staying asleep, very common. Greater irritability, less resilience, outbursts of anger. Mood swings, feeling crazy, changes in eating behavior. Sometimes people self-soothe. They try to manage their activation by eating, and some, they lose the ability to digest food when their sympathetic system shuts down. So it can go both ways. Another way that people try to regulate their system is through alcohol, drugs, and painkillers. And we're hoping that some of these techniques will make it such that people don't have to resort to external ways of self-medicating. We call it self-regulation. Body aches and lack of energy, also very common. Lack of concentration. And this is very important. And a lot of why these first aid, they're seemingly simple, but what they do is they are designed to help bring back clear thinking. When I am on high alert, when I am stuck in either sympathetic or parasympathetic, my short-term memory shuts down. In fact, most of my cognitive thinking shuts down. And what ends up happening is that people have a difficult time remembering and retaining information. They can't remember something that happened just a moment ago. So sometimes just coming into the present, something as simple as feeling the feet starts to clear the brain. And it restores, again, the ability to think. It takes people out of confusion, and it helps people not be quite so numb. Sometimes the problem is a shutting down of the ability to speak, or again, the opposite, urgent talking, need to talk and talk and talk and talk. And both of these spectrums are not that healthy. And what a lot of these exercises are designed to do is to help people learn to stay in the present moment. Because we're often held hostage by situations that harmed us in the past, or we're trying urgently to predict the future. But by coming into the present moment, it gives our nervous systems a break. And this is what all of these exercises that we're going to show you are designed to do. I think it's important to have a self-assessment as it is to have an assessment for your clients. Like, where are you in this moment? Are you revved? Are you depressed? Are you feeling present and available? And I like using what we call a weather report. And that might be that you're having a sunny day, or you're having a cloudy day, or you feel thick with fog, or you can feel a storm coming. And again, just being able to sometimes name our state will bring back the thinking brain and bring in just a little moment of restoring resilience. So very briefly, just to understand, this is absolutely about our biology, our physiology. So we have 3 areas of the brain. And of course, the brain is much more complex than this. We're simplifying it here. But we have our thinking brain, the cortex. We have our limbic system, which is basically our emotional brain. And then we have the part of the brain that very few people think about, which is the brain stem. It's the instinctual brain. It's involuntary. It's where all the autonomic nervous system reactions are housed. And then connecting all of this, which is part of the limbic system, is the amygdala. And again, the amygdala is not something that most people talk about in their practices. But when the amygdala goes on, what the amygdala does is it evaluates information. It evaluates danger. It also, interestingly enough, evaluates pleasure, and it evaluates safety. We want our evaluator to turn off for a minute. And the only way to do that is to bring in a somatic experience of safety or of something that is resourcing in the moment. That quiets the evaluator down. So instead of, and when the evaluator is on, everything feels dangerous. The sock on the floor could be a snake. That sound could be gunfire, but it's probably just a slamming door. Somebody's face looks dangerous when the evaluator is on high. But as we start to settle down, we're able to more accurately look outside and realize I might be in danger, but at this moment, there is relative safety. At this moment, there is something I can count on, which is there is a floor underneath me. And sometimes that's all the amygdala needs, is to be able to focus on something else, and it starts to quiet down. And suddenly things are not as terrifying. Also, as things settle down, the cognitive, the cortex brain can start to come back on. So all of these exercises that we're going to give you today are about calming down the amygdala and the brainstem. How do we know when our brainstem is running us? Well, what we do know is that we get these hormones that are surging through our system. You've all heard of adrenal fatigue, or you've all heard of cortisol fatigue. And this is when we are stuck on where our system is pumping the hormones of fight or flight through our system. These hormones are designed for short-term action, not for long-term reaction. And this is where our body starts to break down. Our heart rate, if it's pumping harder, is working harder than it needs to. The muscles and joints, when we have these hormones running through us, are on constant alert. This is where we get things like chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, is because alertness causes an overuse of joints and muscles and can actually cause a lot of autoimmune disorders and other kinds of diseases. The breathing speeds up and often becomes shallow. When we're not getting enough oxygen, again, our brain goes, oh no, I'm dying. What's wrong? The alarm goes on. So even something like somebody just taking one little breath, doesn't have to even be forced, but one little breath can start to bring in more oxygen and start to settle the system down. The eyes are often in constant, what we call orienting, looking for danger. And no wonder we have chronic neck pain and headaches. Yeah. There are often strong impulses. The fight and flight responses become very active in our system. And we have this constant looking for, where can I hide? Where can I run to? How do I find safety? Or who can I fight? Yeah. And sometimes when those answers are not clear, the system goes into freeze, with the inability to move, the inability to act, and people feel paralyzed. And that is terrifying. As I say, our thinking is reduced, confusion happens, digestion shuts down, and emotions are extreme. There are moving from the whole spectrum of feelings. So what we're doing here today is helping with these symptoms. You don't need to go over this. This is just for your own reference. It's a quick little scale of the autonomic nervous system. We have the sympathetic symptoms and we have the parasympathetic. And one way to look at whether we're high in sympathetic is that it's like a cold shower. We're really moving around fast. And the parasympathetic comes on like a warm bath, and it relaxes us for a moment, and we can soften our muscles. Our heart rate can go back to normal, and our breathing can start to slow down as well. So this is how we're always looking at, where am I? Where's my self-assessment? So the goal here is to return to what we call the resilient zone. We want to bring people just down from wherever they are for just a moment. And when we're in our resilient or our okay zone, we move between emotional states. We don't get stuck in rage. We don't get stuck in grief. We don't get stuck in depression. We are able to find our way out. And this is what these exercises are designed to do. Because what often happens with stress and trauma is that the nervous system, instead of moving in a resilient way, like I say, it gets stuck. And we all know our clients who get stuck in one extreme or another, as well as ourselves. Do we get stuck on sympathetic arousal, which shows up as anxiety, as panic, as rumination, irritability, mania, angry outbursts, chronic pain? That's getting stuck on high sympathetic. Or you might switch to the other. Sometimes people go back and forth. Yeah. Sometimes people get stuck in one for a week, 6 months, a decade, and then they move to the other. So stuck in the low zone is depression. It's sadness. It's just no interest in anything. Apathy. There's a sense of isolating, exhaustion, fatigue. And often people describe themselves as feeling numb, or will see it in their body posture, just totally collapsed. And we don't want to get stuck in either of those. So again, this idea is, how do we help people flow through their emotional states without getting stuck anywhere? So this is just a concept that I want to introduce to you. It's a very SE concept. And it's a concept of balance, or something that counteracts what somebody is experiencing in the moment. So if you ever get stuck and you don't know where to go, think opposite? How do you bring in something that is slightly opposite, something that could be an antidote, something that is a contrast? Peter calls these islands of safety, Peter Levine. So, for example, someone is uncertain. Well, what's the antidote to that? Something that is certain in this moment. When COVID first came out, we were doing a lot of programs around this anticipation. Well, am I going to get it? Who's going to die? And people were going really pretty crazy with the uncertainty of it. And so I did dozens and dozens of webinars on how to just come back to something certain right here in the moment. And something certain is there's a floor underneath my feet. You can even try this yourself. I'm sitting on a chair. I have my back against a pillow. I know that I'm in this room right now. I know that I'm wearing these clothes right now. I know that in this moment, again, I'm speaking as a refugee, my child is safe right now. So anything that you can focus on when people are caught in uncertainty, something that is certain. If someone is stuck on the high zone of panic, then calming is the antidote. How do you help someone calm down just a tiny bit? So again, these exercises are designed to bring in a little bit of calming. Or if someone is so panicked, they're frozen. The opposite of that is something that moves. How do you support someone in getting up and moving a little bit to get them out of freeze? If someone is fearful, what's the opposite? Something that's safe right now. Again, it could be the room. It could be a pet. It could be a partner. It could be any kind of decision that was made that helps someone experience safety. When someone is depressed, what would be one small thing that someone can do? And that's often what happens when people get caught in hopelessness and depression. They feel like they can't do anything. A situation is too big. And sometimes just looking for one little tiny task or one small movement is what can bring someone out of a deep depression. Of course, it's more complicated than this, but I'm just giving you an idea. When someone feels alone, you want to either bring in moments of connection, people they would like to connect to, people that they can connect to, gathering their resources. If someone is numb and dissociated, come back. Again, we'll show you these exercises that return to a sense of something solid. And any kind of resources that can bring empowerment. So somebody just feels completely helpless. I might say, well, what was a good choice that you made that got you here? Even if it was just getting into your office or getting on this phone call. The other thing that really helps bring back a sense of empowerment and resilience is to notice people that have been helpful, people that have been kind. There's so much incredible response to the world right now to this crisis, that the external resources that are becoming available they're just huge. And then if someone is feeling really angry, often again, anger gets kind of caught in the system, moving into an action, doing something, moving, like helping someone else, yeah? Writing a letter if you need to. Take your anger into action. So again, this list goes on and on and on. It's just a kind of a way that when you get really, really stuck and you don't know what to do, think the opposite And that will sometimes get you and the client out. So I'm going to turn the slides off, and Elsbeth is going to lead us in. We have 2 experientials today. This is the first one, and it's lovely. And you are going to get a list of every single one of these exercises. So I don't want you to write. I want you to get involved in this. What's important is that you feel in your body what works, so that you can remember this as a resource for yourself. It's being recorded. You'll also have access to this recording so you can hear her voice. So please try not to get your thinking brain out of here, and let your body have this gift that she is about to give you. And if you're able to feel this on the inside and really experience how well they work, you'll have a lot more confidence about inviting your clients to do it. All right. I also noticing there's a lot of people with black screens. So it might be nice to have some of you turn on your screen so that we know that you're there and we know that you're okay. Okay, Elsbeth, you're on.
Okay, thank you very much, Ariel. What a wonderful explanation of what we do. I'll invite you to an exercise with all of us together, and I suggest that you really participate, that you can really experience and not just watch what I do. So for that, I'll invite you to sit on a chair if you can. It has to lean on, and to feel your feet on the ground. And just notice for a moment how you breathe. Not go deep breathing, but just notice, how is it breathing? Am I breathing or am I breathing just slow and deep? And everything is fine. It's just observing. Then maybe you want to feel your feet on the ground. Some people call this grounding. And sometimes that's a bit difficult to understand, but if you explain, it's to feel if your feet are warm or cold. That's quite an easy way. Everybody can do that. Even when we're really anxious, you can feel it's cold or it's warm. Or you can say, feel with your toes, feel your socks, or feel the floor. What floor am I on? Mine is wooden. Maybe something else is tiles. How does it feel? How is the floor? Then if you like, you can put your hands on the knees and see how round they are. You move a little bit up on your side. And then think how you're sitting. Am I sitting heavy? Am I sitting light? Maybe you might even feel the bones on the chair. And then you get your hands and just wash them. Make a movement like you're washing them. And for a moment, think about all that your hands have been doing today. And maybe you want to say thank you. It helped you to write. It helped you to be kind to a person, caress a child's face. Many things you've done with your hands today. And they can help you to feel also a little bit more. And I invite you to use your fingers a bit like the rainy summer. Warm summer rain going down your face. And as you go through your cheeks, you can open up the mouth. And maybe tap a little bit your collarbone. It's all very soft movements. Be kind to yourself. It's not hitting yourself. Yeah. Then I invite you a second to close your eyes. Listen to your breath again. Notice if something has changed. And then slowly look around the room like you were a deer in the wood in the morning that is going to check out how is the weather doing today. And you move to one side and look at all the colors you can see. I can see green. I can see white, pink. Just go slowly, not running. It's to slowly check. How does it look like where I am? What colors are there? There is some black, some red, orange. A whole lot of color on the screen. Green again, and you can turn all the way back. And I see pink and purple. And I come back again very slowly, and I notice things I hadn't seen before. Yellow, white, black, and yellow again, and pink. And then you can say to yourself, my name is, and you say your name, like my name is Elsbeth Horbaty. You can say, I'm 67 years old, or whatever your ages are. I am in winter to Switzerland, or wherever you are, in Budapest, Hungary. And today is the 11th of March, 2022. And it's around 8 in the evening. And then you can say to yourself, I'm here, I have arrived. Thank you.
Just everybody, just take a moment and notice how you're doing right now. You're perhaps feeling a little different now than you did 10 minutes ago. If you were to do a self-assessment, would you say that you feel different than you did a while ago? How many of you feel like you're, maybe write in the chat, more calm, more present, more speeded up? How would you describe what shifts you're experiencing? More present and calmer. Nice. More alive. Beautiful. Good. More safe, more focused. Excellent. Warmth in the chest. Gorgeous. Nice. More smiley. Great. Thank you, Elsbeth. So I want to emphasize that when we're working with people, the way that you would use some of these exercises might just be for 30 seconds, right? They're talking, they're really having a hard time, and you just say, how would it be just to take a moment and just feel there's a floor underneath you? That simple, yeah? How would it be just to feel your collarbone a little bit? Notice the chair behind your back. Or if they're really having a hard time with their thinking, these naming colors starts to bring back the thinking brain. It clicks it back on, takes it out of that more activated place into something that requires, in order to name colors and objects, it requires that we have a brain, yeah, especially if you're saying it to yourself. So you don't have to lead people in anything. You just have to know when to just kind of sprinkle these exercises in. There'll be a part 2 of these with some self-touch, which is also really valuable in terms of, again, calming the amygdala and bringing in more presence. So the next part of this is to start to do what we call gather resources. And resources are very important to call in when people are in high states of distress. And the reason for this, again, is we want to bring in that balance of the smallest amount of safety and calmness. And what we're looking for is how to help people recognize that they already have so much in them, outside of them. They've already made really good decisions, or they wouldn't be there. And so we're not creating something that's not there. We are just bringing attention to what is there and having that have an effect on the body and the nervous system. So let's have a look here. So this is a lot of what Elsbeth did, and you have it here. So let's talk about resources. When we're in the middle of an intense situation, we never should underestimate the capacity of human beings to cope with the most adverse situations. Our ancestors went through it. We know how to do this. And so questions like, they escaped a serious situation, they came into your office, how did you manage that? How did you get through that tough situation? A question like that brings them right into their resources, their resilience. What helps you each day to resist? I like that question. What gets you through each day? What decisions that you have made proved smart or life-saving? What was a good decision that you made? What has helped you through other times? What would you recommend in this situation to someone else? How has your family survived similar situations? Perhaps your ancestors, perhaps past generations. How do you think they did it? And how has your community survived similar situations? So we're looking at internal resources, external, and community. So external resources, there are many. Social networks, connecting with others through social media. Something that really makes a difference to a person is moments of kindness, acts of kindness. Kind eyes that someone noticed as they were fleeing. Or the person that gave you water, food, a blanket, maybe just a smile. And so we have people remember that moment. So, as you remember that kind person, we bring it into the body. What happens inside? Or what changes inside as you remember that moment of kindness? Connecting to community, places of worship. One's faith is a huge resource for many people. Spiritual practices and rituals. Connecting with nature. Yeah. Elsbeth was saying, look around. Yeah. You can also look out and see the trees. Sometimes just seeing a tree or seeing a bird or seeing a beautiful sky can bring in a beautiful sense of well-being. Beneficial eating and sleeping habits, very important. And then contact with others. Very important that we receive safe touch, hugs, affection from family, from friends, from children, from one's partner, and from pets. And again, these are the situations that can have a very big influence on bringing activation down. Moving. Many people get very frozen and paralyzed. So any activity that people enjoy could be jumping, running in place, shaking, jumping rope, maybe just rolling and stretching on the ground, doing push-ups, yeah? Stretching, yoga, tai chi, dancing to favorite music, playing with children, playing with pets, taking walks in nature or anywhere that feels safe. And then doing activities with others. The collective can be extraordinarily resourcing. So then we have internal resources. And these are any feelings or thoughts that bring relaxation. And again, the way we do that is as you remember that moment, as you feel that sense of love for your children, what happens inside? How do we bring home what the effect that this memory has? Feelings of joy, feelings of support. You might have your hand on the client and they feel support by you. And so you say, well, as you feel that support, what happens inside? Any moments of strength. We want to help people identify moments that they felt strong, that they felt empowered. As you remember that moment, what happens inside? Any experience of resilience, any moments that you know that your family was resilient, we want to bring that inside. We want to remember any moments where someone felt relaxed. We want to bring in the connection to spirit, to religion, to God. As you think about God supporting you, how is that for you? What happens inside? And sometimes it helps when someone is in a very challenging place to be able to look at their resources. So it's very common for us to write them down. The other thing is community resources, yeah? And these are things that hopefully you do with others. These would be listening to music together or making music, singing songs that you all know, dancing, sharing foods, writing down what's happening for you and sharing with others, and discussing your collective and your individual resources so that you have a sense of how you might be a resource to others and how they might be a resource to you. Writing a journal or a diary, writing poetry, reading poetry, making art, telling jokes, yeah? All of these are very, very wonderful to bring in a sense of bonding and connection. And we feel stronger when we are connected to community. Hearing and sharing stories of triumph, collective projects that might be building something together, putting something up, clearing something that needs to be cleared. Sewing circles have been very, very popular all over the world in times of stress. Or just sitting in silence together, going to a park and just sitting together in silence. Taking turns caring for children, and then having lists of what you like and what feels good for you. So here's just a short list of things that help people feel safer. Orientation, coming into the present moment, perceiving what's changing inside. Any kind of mindfulness that takes people out of getting caught in rumination, quieting down, slowing down. Restrict information. This is very important. Try, if you're watching intense images on social media, turn them off. Don't overload your system. Try to give your body a break before bed. Maybe even take breakfast and a shower before you turn on the news. And then, like I say, turn it off after a while. Go outside, take a walk, notice a contrast. Know your limits. Know how much you should work. Know how much you should be giving to your family or with your partner. Being reliable. The more that we keep our agreements, the better it is for everybody as well as ourselves. Look at things that haven't changed, especially refugees. Yeah, the sunrise is still the same sunrise. It might have a different horizon, but it's the same sun. It's the same moon. It's the smell of familiar flowers, or the very essential cup of coffee or tea that we have in the morning, or just a favorite piece of clothing or a blanket. Order also creates security. Keeping things tidy and clean can make a big difference. So here's this, again, this antidote situation, which is if someone is feeling terror or fear, we want to bring in a sense of calmness. If someone is feeling powerless, we want to bring in something that feels empowering, something that feels like they did the right decision. If someone is disoriented, orient them. If someone's uncertain, find certainty. If there's a fear of physical harm to self or loved ones, notice that right here, right now, no one is getting harmed, that there is a sense of safety. People who feel a loss of control and freedom, that's right. And right here, right now, you are in control of yourself. You can't change the larger field, but you are in control of yourself and your child at this moment. So these are, again, strategies. So we're going to do a little exercise here. It's not really an exercise. It's a sharing. And we want to just give you all a chance to be able to talk a little bit. Yeah. I imagine that you're all holding a lot. You've seen a lot. We have a lot of different professions here. Each one of you is responding to this crisis in a different way. So we're going to put you in your small groups now. You're going to have, what is it? You're going to have 45 minutes. So you're going to have a really nice long time. We've done this every day this week that we've met, and it was said to be the most valuable part of this. So those of you that are feeling nervous, like you want to run away, please stick it out because you could get something very valuable out of it. So we want you to have a chance just to say your name, where you're from if you want, if you want to say your profession, you can, but you don't have to. We're all here learning. We're all here of service. We're curious of the exercises, which worked best for you. And we have more to come, so there's a few more. Which exercises worked best for you? And what are you finding? Who's coming into your office? What are you working with that's challenging? What kind of training? Again, if this is useful to share, you can. We also know that we sent you a form, but if there's something that you want to say about this, you can. This is up to you. And what resources can you find in yourself that help you serve the people that you're coming to see? Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. And this is going to be a moment of confusion because it always is we're going to take a very quick break. Yeah. I really want you to be on time. Please do not sign out because Sylvie has worked really hard to get all the groups organized with all the right numbers of people. Please join a group. If you don't feel like saying anything, that's fine. At least listen to others because it might help you feel a little bit more of a community connection. It's another thing we're trying to do here is we want you all to have a chance to connect to other people that are experiencing similar situations and maybe connect with each other outside of here. Yep. So I want you back here in 5 minutes. Very, very, very quick. Sylvie is going to put you into your groups. If you're late, you're going to miss out. And it's going to be a wild shuffle. Yeah. You're going to have till 1/4 to do this. And then we're going to come back together. We have another quick exercise, and then we're going to end again, sharing some resources. All right. Esther, you don't have to wait for me to come back. You can have everybody start exactly at 35 after the hour.
Yes,
right?
and just one more thing to add, that when you are joining your small group, we ask you or suggest to leave your camera on so we can just see each other's faces. And of course, if you really, really don't want to, that's okay as well. And we will see each other in 5 minutes. Have a nice break.
Okay. Sylvie, is that everybody back?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have one more little experiential for you that Elsbeth is going to lead us in. And then we'll close. You ready, Elsbeth?
Sorry, I didn't realize that I'm getting shut up here. So I would like you to show 2 more things which are a bit more, to begin with, a bit more exciting. So one is you get up and then you walk around. And while you walk, you just feel your feet on the ground. And you feel how you walk. How is that your toes go on the floor? You maybe want to walk the outer line of the feet or the inner line. And it's completely different to walk outer line, inner line. And when you're tired, you can lean against the wall and feel, is the wall warm or cold? Is it rough? Or is it glass? What sort of texture is it? And usually when you do that, your body makes a big sigh. You can also try that out to lay on the sofa or lay on the floor. And then we come back. And maybe some people are very anxious, very nervous. And then it also helps to run on the spot, like to lift your knees. Go fast. I know you can't see me, but I guess you get the idea. You go with your feet like this, very fast, up and down and up and down and up and down. Like running, sitting, until you get a bit tired. And then you can hug yourself. Huh? Maybe you can hug your stomach and your chest. Or Peter Levine, who has developed this methodology, he puts one hand over his heart, more or less, and the other hand around him. And just notice what this does with you to calm down. And when you're sitting like this, just think, where is this? Where have I felt this before? Safe, and somebody hugging me. Usually when we're babies, having the baby here, maybe the hand of our mother comes to our mind. Somebody rocking me. And notice again if there is a sigh, or sometimes even our stomach makes funny sounds. Because that's when the system of the digestion starts to work again. Sometimes it helps to put the hand on the head. And then you can feel, you can either push a bit stronger or less strong. Just notice what feels good. And I see somebody going like this. That's okay too. Or like this. And to finish, maybe we just have one hand on the chest and one on the belly. Then we move one hand back, on the back, on the kidneys. And then what do you notice? You say, oh, I'm three-dimensional. There is actually a body between my hands. And you can say, hello, body, I'm here. And then take your hands, put them on the side, and just relax. Feel what you want to feel. Maybe you want to close your eyes a second. And then open the eyes and you realize you're not alone. You're with a big community of helpers Thank you very much, Ariel.
Thank you, Elsbeth. Okay, so we're about out of time. I hope this was a useful time for all of you. If you would like the recording, just contact Eszter. As I said, we're developing a lot more resources and programs that should be available fairly soon. So if you're feeling like you would like more training or more resources, those will be available. We're also going to create some social media pages where you can stay in contact with each other and maybe have some peer support. It's really important that as you're holding all of these intense situations, that you have a place where you can go and just talk with your colleagues. Yeah. So a lot more in the works for you. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you to Eszter for making this happen. This is an incredible undertaking. We created this program in 3 days? We put it together really fast, and it's still evolving. Thank you to the incredible assistants that have been donating their time. Thank you so much. And to our wonderful tech support. Thank you, Sylvie. And our interpreter who had to work extra today. So everybody be well. And I really want to encourage you to practice these practices. They only take just a few seconds every day, 3 times a day. I do them as often as I can. I do them in between clients. I do them before I give a presentation. They're extremely valuable, and I hope that you're taking away something that will help you feel more resilient and help you help others in these very challenging times. So blessings on all of you, and you'll be hearing from us again.
And Ariel, I would really love to thank you for being here with us during this whole week, each day, during the weekend, working and finding out what would be the best support. And without you, we couldn't gather here tonight. So thank you so much for being here.